Okay, thank you. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you very much. I'm really glad that everybody is here. We have a wonderful quorum. I want to note that for the record, and also want to wish all of you a great 2011. That is the year that we're in, and it's going to be a great year. So hope all of you had a great holiday season. We have a few things on the agenda. One of the things that we'd like to do, though, at a later meeting, especially since we're starting off the year, it would be appropriate for us to just maybe just take a look at what's happening during the year. What are some of the things that we have planned, just from an overall standpoint? You know, looking at it from a sort of a vision and mission standpoint. 2010 was a great year, and it might be interesting at another meeting, Iris, just for us to just look over our accomplishments, because we did accomplish quite a bit, and we just need to take note of that so that we're not just marching on without an understanding of the perspective and the context that we're operating in, because we really, this has been last year was a banner year, and we really accomplished quite a bit.
What I can do is I prepared for the Chancellor a list of all the projects that will be completed in 2011 and 2012, which is quite enormous in terms of how much it's adding to the footprint of CUNY. What I can do is, for the next board meeting, I can include that as an attachment, and then we give you a presentation on it. We get a sense of how much is really coming online in the next 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. No, that would be great, and especially with the whole decade of the sciences, and which is our overall vision and perspective, looking at how we fit into that particular piece, and what are some of the things that we have on target in terms of where our priorities and focus are going to be. That would be helpful.
Good. Great.
No, thank you very much. The first thing I'd like to do is to take a look at the first action item, which is the minutes, and does anybody have any questions or amendments to the minutes?
I'll move them.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you very much. That passes. And what I'd like to do now is to go to item number 2, which is the resolution of the construction fund approving the annual certificate for fiscal year 2012. And so resolved that the Board of Trustees of the construction fund approve the annual certificate for fiscal year 2012 dated January 20th, 2011. And also be resolved that the acting chairman of the fund is hereby authorized and directed to execute and deliver the annual certificate on behalf of the fund. Maybe if we could just have some little explanation of that, especially for new trustees, so that they understand.
Sure, and if it's okay with you, Mr. Chairman, I think I'd like to do both items. That one as well as the IRS form, the 990 form, and have Howie take us through both those items because they're in fiscal nature.
Okay.
Is Howie here?
I think he stepped out for a second, and Judy just went to look for him.
Okay.
Well, what
so
why don't we go?
Then go through the other items, and then when Howie comes back.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Keep the meeting moving.
Yeah, we'll keep it moving. All right, so I'm going to turn to action item number, item 4, which is the resolution authorizing the purchase and installation of additional fire alarm system and related work in the Performing Arts Center at York College. This is good. I know we'll have more explanation, but resolve that the construction fund authorize the executive director to execute an amendment to the existing purchase order with control firm Johnson Controls, and with the purchase of services and equipment to design and install additional fire alarm system at the Performing Arts Center at York College under the existing general services contract. An amendment will provide funds for the purchase of additional services and equipment for the design and installation of emergency voice and communication systems and the state deluge pre-action systems in the Performing Arts Center. And both of those are required. We are required to do that based to comply with the New York City building code. Do you want to have a little bit more? It seems to be
Yeah, we do. As the board knows, they're seeing a lot of items like this. And, one of the issues is that many of our facilities do not have adequate fire alarm systems. Many of our projects were not built to the New York City code. ASME was not required to do that. But over the last few years, we have really in earnest looked at the inventory of our buildings and case by case tried to upgrade those facilities to make sure that the buildings tie into campus-wide fire alarm systems. And let me just say that as a result of the state of good repair money that we have gotten from the state, we're able to fund many of these projects. In particular, this item came to the board once before, but now we are doing a little bit more detailed work at the Performing Arts Center. And in particular, the one item that really is of utmost importance for this contract has to do with the deluge system, which is because there's so much electronics and wiring that goes through these two stage areas. This is a system that, you know, just applies a lot of water very quickly to be able to put out a fire if it should happen. So this is work that's long needed, and as I said, this came to the board previously, but now we're upgrading the work that we're going to be doing, particularly at the Performing Arts Center.
What is a two-stage system?
Well, because this is the, we have two stages at.
There's two-stage systems.
No, it's a two-stage system for the deluge.
The fire alarm system has two stages. There's a pre-action phase and then when the sprinkler's up.
What's the pre-action stage?
There's a delay, because the deluge system puts a lot of water down. You want to have a secondary confirmation that
Oh,
there
I
is a
see.
fire.
You
So
do a
there-
lot of
there's an
damage with that.
initiate- Yes.
I see,
Yes.
I understand.
Okay,
It could be more damaging than fire.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
There's so
yeah,
much
yeah,
water
that's
that
correct.
comes out.
Happy to move it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, is there a second to that?
Second.
Any other questions or comments on it? All in favor then?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? What I'd like to do is to go back, and Howie, we're going to go back to item number 2. And then what I'm going to do is to also read the resolution for item number 3, and then if we can get a motion that would move both items in tandem. And so item number 3 is the resolution for the construction fund approving the filing of IRS Form 990. And so what we're asking for is that we approve the filing of IRS Form 990 for the period ending, for the period that ended in June 30th, 2010.
I'll move action item 2 and 3.
Is there a
Second.
to that? So now we have some explanation.
Sure.
So on both of those items.
Item 2 is the fund's financial statement and the certificate that we're required to file. We held it over from the last meeting because the board members got the financial statements late. The board is required to report and include its financial statement. It's required to I'm just not doing it.
File?
But, no, sorry. It's the explanation of the debt service of what we expect to receive from both the state and the city in order to pay debt service, and then what the fund will pay to the dormitory authority so that the dormitory authority can pay off the bonds. That's the, and it has the operating budget of the fund as well.
All that will be in the 990?
The 990 is a separate issue. The 990, item 3, is basically the fund's IRS tax filing. So that, because the fund is a 501c3 corporation, basically, it files a 990 instead of a business tax return, and it explains the funds coming into the construction fund, what the fund paid out. There's also a section, there's a questionnaire within the 990 that explains the relationship of board members, of contractors to the fund. In the past, the IRS has not required those items, but beginning last year, for all 990 filers, and probably several of you are have other not-for-profits that you're related to, because of the apparent mismanagement for a lot of not-for-profit corporations around the country over the past years, the IRS has implemented these questionnaires to to gather more information about how not-for-profits are functioned and structured. And while they do not require the board to sign off on the 990 filing, they strongly recommend it, so we are following with the IRS recommendation and bringing it to the, I think last year was the first year we brought in 990 to the.
Yeah, that's right. Any other questions?
Just one minor
Yeah.
correction. We're not a 501c3 or a public authority, but we're tax exempt. The filing requirement is the same.
What is the designation? What's our code? That's okay. That's an obscure question.
I'll get this section for you, but we're exempt as a governmental public authority.
501c3 is like a charitable
That's
organization.
right.
Yes, charitable, educational purposes. Any other questions on that particular item? Any?
Are we required to sign annually a disclosure statement that would be attached to the 990?
Not to the 990, but there will be a conflict of interest. We do have a conflict of interest policy, and we bring it to the board once a year.
Okay.
And we usually do that in June with several of the annual reports.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Thank you. It carries. What I'll do now, we're going now to item number 5, which is the resolution for the construction fund authorizing the purchase and installation of a campus-wide security system at the College of Staten Island. And so resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Construction Fund authorize the Executive Director to execute a purchase order with the firm of Johnson Controls for the purchase of services and equipment to design and install a campus-wide security system under an existing general services contract. Total cost shall be chargeable to the fund, to the State Capital Construction Fund, DASNY, and also an amount not to exceed $6.1 million. And the contract, of course, shall be subject to approval as informed by the fund's general counsel.
This project is extremely important to the College of Staten Island, as I think the board knows. In terms of acreage, this is the largest campus that CUNY has. It's over 204 acres. Number of buildings spread all over the campus. And one of their biggest concerns is security. In terms of having emergency telephone systems for students to be able to call if they're in need, a new security operations center so that the guards can see basically what's going on all over the campus, video surveillance, a public address system, and also lighting on the campus. That's become a very big issue at the College of Staten Island. This project was a number of years in the coming. We had to wait for various state appropriations to come through, and now we have full funding, and we are going to start this project, which, as I said, is very important to the campus, and it was very important to this president, Tomas Morales, to get this project moving as quickly as possible.
Sure. Any other questions on this?
Have there been
particular
a
item?
problem with security at CSI?
No, it's more, well, look, there are some problems, but I think it's a more a feeling of perception on behalf of the students. And I think as people know, the college campus is used a lot because of their performing arts center and their facilities. And so there are a lot of outsiders who come onto the campus. And so I think it's more of a matter of perception. I mean, I've been there late at night, and I know that there are parking lots far away because, mass transit's not really a viable option out there at the College of Staten Island. And so I think people feel that, even though maybe the crime rate isn't very high, there's a perception that people just don't feel safe. It's dark, there's no way to reach out to people, and so, I think that this makes eminent sense to put the system in.
Is this going to brighten things up so that
Yes.
people don't have?
Oh, dramatically.
Because it does get very dark there at night.
It does.
the video if you cannot see it.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And as I said, there are a number of parking lots. Clearly not all of them can be adjacent or right next to the buildings. So people have to walk a fair distance to be able to get to various venues on the campus. So We have worked very closely with the campus to try and incorporate all their concerns about security into this contract.
Happy to move it.
Yeah,
Is
second.
there a second? Any other discussion, comments, or all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Thank you. What's the, you said that Staten Island has the most acreage out of all of them?
Yes,
What-
200, over 200 acres. I think it's about
203.
203, 204. It says 204.
It says 204, yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere
In
in
the
the
resolution.
You need a golf cart to go
Round
around.
up.
It's a lot of land to cover.
What's next, what's the next college?
The next largest after that, would it be Kingsborough? I think maybe Kingsborough.
Kingsborough.
Yeah, they have a lot of land out there.
Yeah. You have a beach and a navy.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Queens is also quite large.
Take a look at
Queens
that.
is like 75 acres.
Yeah.
It's quite big, yeah.
Okay, we're gonna go to, item number, 7, which is.
Seven. Yes.
Trustee, you had a?
No, it's all right. I'm anxious about that.
Okay. Okay, so the next one is the, for item number 7, is authorizing a consulting contract for the design and design services during construction of the Academic Village and Conference Center at York College. And so, resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Construction Fund authorize the Executive Director to execute a consulting contract with the firm of Enian Architects, which was formerly Polshek Partnership, for professional design and construction-related services as required for the Academic Village and Conference Center at York College. The contract shall be chargeable to the State Construction Fund designated project for an amount not to exceed $6.5 million. And the
9.5.
9.5. Thank you very much. 9.5 million. The contract shall be subject to approval as deformed by the fund's general counsel. Maybe you can give us.
Sure. You know, at York College, we really do not have a facility really dedicated totally to student services, such as student clubs, bursar's office, you know, registrar. Most of our campuses do have facilities available, and at York, these functions are dispersed among the various buildings. As the enrollment has gone up at York, it's very clear that students spend more time on the campus. Their classes are spread out over the day. There aren't many facilities, lounges where students can go to study, to do work in between their classes. And so, as part of the master plan, it was identified that really what is needed is a student services building. We went out with an RFP process to pick an architect, and I might add that we got something like 67 responses back from architecture firms. I think it's both a testament to CUNY's, but also it's really a revelation in terms of the times, in terms of how firms really are seeking business, and it was a rather competitive process. The Polshek firm has done work for us before here at CUNY, and they've done some spectacular work. They just completed the Medgar Evers building, which is absolutely a beautiful structure. They just completed a Roosevelt Hall for, Roosevelt House for Hunter, again, a beautiful timepiece that they completed. This process to design this building is going to take us a couple of years, which is traditional, as Wellington can tell you, in terms of designing a building and then, you know, testing it engineering-wise. And so we're not going to be ready to go into the ground for a couple of years on this project. We don't have all the money for the project. We were appropriated $11 million by the state legislature, and as you can see, this contract with the architect is not to exceed 9.5. We're very hopeful and confident here at CUNY that as the economy gets better and more projects will get funded here at CUNY, it would be really great to have projects that will be shovel-ready, that will be designed and then ready to go into the ground. So we're mindful of the fact that we cannot start construction, but we're also committed to the fact that we need to have projects that are ready to go into construction just when the economy, we believe, will start to be turning back. I know that the college is very excited about ENIAD and the concepts that they've come up with for this structure. And, you know, it's a very exciting step for your college, which really, as I said, their enrollment is going up and they need a center for their students to be able to have a better feeling about the college and about their time at the college.
Is there any other discussion or questions?
What does the $9.5 million cover?
Well, it's gonna cover the complete design, all the construction documents, and working with all the sub-consultants to come up with a viable plan that will be able to be bid out and go into the ground. So they're basically working on the first phase of the design, which is to come up with a concept and an idea. And then after we've accepted that, they'll move on to the next phase. So that's why it takes a little while to be able to really design an over 100,000 square foot building for the college.
Well, just in case they need more money, what is that?
Well, we're pretty confident that within the scope of what we've given them, that this money will be able to cover it. As I said, the state appropriated $11 million so far for the design of this building, or the first phase of the project. So we're pretty hopeful, pretty confident, because we've negotiated this price with NEAD, that we'll be able to cover the work that we need done on this project.
The reason I asked that is I see the academic village, but I'm just thinking that they have a lot of seniors in the community, and there may be some need to have a special place for seniors. And that
Megan,
would,
did that come up at all in the master plan about the seniors? I don't remember seeing
No,
that.
but
No.
Is there a lot?
that's the
I mean,
future.
the building has a conference center, has ability to help the community do services and have events and things like that, but there wasn't anything set aside.
But there
more
is a
specific.
community element that
Yes.
was very important to the
Yes.
college and important to the advisory committee of the college, that they needed and they felt that they wanted a place where the community could use space, which is something that we have been doing as of late in a number of our projects. The School of Social Work, we put in a 200-seat auditorium that we are telling the community board and groups up in East Harlem that they will be able to use. At Medgar Evers, there's a 100-seat auditorium on the first floor that we have reached out to the community and told them they can use. And my sense is it'll be a similar type of function here at this building at York, that there will be facilities that the community can use.
Yeah.
Will the architects supervise the construction?
They won't, well, the answer is no. I mean, whoever the construction manager is will supervise it, but they will work very closely with the construction
They'll
manager.
certify that the work is.
contract-
Yes.
This contract also includes design services during construction.
Yeah, okay.
So they're involved in shop drawing approvals.
They're gonna take it all the way till, construction, and then we will go out and we'll bid out a CM, and then they will work, as in all of the CUNY projects and the DASNY projects, the CM works very closely with the architect. And even if the building's up and we have issues, we go back to the architects to try and help us resolve those problems.
What's the student population at York, and what's the trajectory for that growth?
Do you know
Yeah,
the enrollment numbers, Megan?
I believe they're at about 7,700 full-time equivalents now, and they're going up over 9,000
Yeah.
in the master plan, which will go to the board.
Blown away by both numbers.
Yeah,
Wow.
they've really done well.
Out of nothing.
Yeah, and that's incredible growth.
Wow.
Incredible
Remember when
growth.
it got started in the 60s?
Oh, I sure do. I remember when it was there before.
Yeah, right. That's why it's good that we're doing a lot of
Ferrucci can tell
construction
you
and
what it was like
revitalizing,
before.
for the
It
community.
really, yeah, yeah. You can see the
It's
impact.
great
of it.
testament. In terms of investing in the community, I think people can see that.
Well, we have a very good president.
Without
For a change.
Without a doubt, yes.
And by the way, she has been very involved in this project, in terms of the selection of the architect and discussing the concepts that she has for the campus. So she has been very much hands-on.
So she'll be part of that meeting with the
absolutely.
architect. That's good.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Happy to move it, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other questions or discussion, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? It passes.
Okay.
The next item is the report of the chair. I guess there are two things I want to mention. One is that on January the 28th, there's going to be a women minority business enterprise conference. in Long Island. Maybe
At the new law school.
at the new law school, right? I'll be opening the conference, but maybe you could just say a little bit how we.
The fund and CUNY are jointly sponsoring the NWBE outreach conference. It will be held at the new law school in Long Island City. We have done this before with the university, but this, for the fund, it's a special conference. This is actually our conference now, and we are the main sponsor. Jeff Weinstein has a couple of handouts that will that has some information about the conference for you.
Why don't we pass it? Yeah, let's pass it.
As Howie mentioned, we're particularly excited because we're doing this on both the capital side of CUNY and the expense side of CUNY is joining together in this conference. So you'll get all different types of vendors who will be attending. You know, folks that we're most interested in terms of the construction side and sub-consultants. And then on the expense side, they'll have the type of contractors that they look to for doing business with. So we're very excited that it's a joint
So
conference.
the way it is structured, there will be representatives from each of the CUNY campuses, from us, from our good friends at DASME, from New York City Small Business Services. There will be workshops for different areas and what the vendors are interested in. We will also have, several of you know, last year we put out a design build requirements contract for laboratory work and a construction manager design build, CM build contract, and our CMs will be at the conference. They will be at tables where they will be able to recruit potential subcontractors for the work that they do for us, as well as work they do for other agencies.
Is there anything in writing that details requirements for contractors or subcontractors?
Well, yes. You need to become certified?
Yeah, because I have friends who, may or
Yes.
may not,
Yes,
maybe some of them should be invited to this.
Mhm.
That's what I'm thinking.
And there will be representatives from the New York State Empire Development, who does the certification process for the state, and for the city Small Business Services, who does the certification process for the city. And both, we're government, so why would anything be similar, or if you get certified by one,
You automatically don't get certified by the other.
Exactly.
So you should be 8A certified, right? You have to be 8A certified, or just?
I'm not sure if you need to be 8A certified, but both the city and the state have different requirements, and we encourage every vendor who we deal with to get certified by both. In terms of our reporting requirements, we are treated more as a state entity than a city entity. And we've had some issues where we've had certified city NWB contractors do work for us, where the state would not give us credit for having those vendors work on our projects, because they don't have the state certified. And so we try and get both certified on both sides, because when the entities we report to, when they look at us, we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to meet our targets, even though in several cases we have certified, city certified MWD contractors working, but where they're not state certified, it brings down our percentage and meeting our goals for the state, but we're actually doing better than what you might see.
Understood. Iris, a while back you said you had information on what % of minority and women vendors.
It's in your
package.
right there.
It's in the package.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
There you go, that gets.
What about, it would be good if some of the trustees, you know, if you can come, you know, to any portion
I'll
of
be
it.
there.
And
I'll be there.
you know,
Plan to
that would
come.
be good. And
Yeah.
what I want to be sure of, I forgot the name of the lady who we contracted to help coordinate this, but I want to make sure that when the trustees come, that, that people know that they're there. So, you need to.
Yeah, well,
We'll make sure that their names are.
On your list of people invited was the New York Women's Agenda. Do you recognize that name at all?
Jeff, do you know it? The New York Women's Agenda?
You know, I might be able to help you with the list. Right.
There are about 400 organizations that have pre-registered to attend.
Yeah, 400, that's good.
And we're hoping for, as many as 700.
Is
I'd
that
like-
more than the last time you did it?
It's comparable to last year's.
Mm.
We had about 600 to 650 individuals showing up for the conference.
And my sense is, I don't know, because everything we put out to bid now, we're seeing enormous responses back.
Yeah, its
Um,
architectural thing was amazing.
It was amazing, and, you know, we put out to bid the smallest little jobs, and, you know, we get 30, 40 people coming in to pick up specs and plans. My guess is that we're gonna see a large number at this conference, because people they're hungry out
Heard
there
it.
for the
Yeah,
work,
that's
and I'm
right.
sure Dasney is seeing the same thing.
Yeah, we had over 1,000 at our conference.
Really?
It was just up in Albany. a few weeks ago.
And-
What's the capacity at our law school?
It's not 1,000, I'll tell you.
We need a
The
big boat.
auditorium can handle about 325
Maybe
people.
1,000 on a flow.
Yeah, exactly, well, we do sessions.
And
Any other-
you were talking about the numbers of people. Since we did the York RFP, we've also put out an RFP for a requirements contract for architectural and engineering services, where we got 198 responses.
Wow.
So you can imagine the people on the committee, how many proposals they had to go through. It was triage.
Wow.
They had to put aside the ones that they knew didn't, didn't qualify, but that's a lot
That's an awful lot.
of responses. So it's a testament to the economy and what's going on out
It
there.
should also indicate that maybe we get better prices at this time.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
happening.
Good, thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
And then on March the 10th, I know that Denise has been sending out notices, so people should have the next few meetings in their calendars.
Yes.
If you could just note that in your calendar, and then I'd like to have the executive director move to page 4.
Sure, I'll be brief. We mentioned the law school, where we're having this MWBE conference. We hope to start the construction out there. We have to retrofit the building a little bit. We have to put in a library. We've got to put in some new court facilities, and we hope that by May 1st, we will be able to start construction out at the new law school. And I'm very thrilled that if you do come to this MWBE conference, you'll see this very nice new building that we purchased. I was at Fitterman Hall a couple of weeks ago, and I'm sure that Dasney will report on it, but the steel is almost completely up. We're going to be topping off in probably sometime in February, they think.
Probably late February, early
in
March.
March now because of the weather, but it's remarkable to see how quickly the steel has gone up, and you see the framing of the building. And so that's very exciting. We have.
Will we have a topping up ceremony?
Yes, we will.
We'll let people know in sufficient time in advance. So that
We will, it'll
trustees can
probably be
attend.
the coldest day of the year, or there'll be a blizzard, so you can mark it on your calendar and know that it'll be the coldest day.
You promise?
I was out at the New School of Social Work, our very successful public-private partnership, and that project just continues to amaze me and surprise me. They are on schedule, probably a little ahead of schedule. The dorm that was built behind the building is going to be done probably in April, and it has really changed the landscape. When you come off 3rd Avenue, and now you see this structure at 118th Street.
Right.
It's quite something. And
I just wanted to add, speaking of topping off ceremonies, there was a topping off ceremony for that building some months ago. And, it's both the School of Social Work and the residence hall for the graduate school. And Bill Kelly, who's the president of the graduate school, spoke briefly. And Bill is just a terrifically entertaining guy. These topping off ceremonies are really for the construction workers and everybody else. And there's a big lunch and everybody's eating these big.
And you give them a shirt, they
eating
like
these
it.
sandwiches and shirts. And Bill gets up there and he quotes from Moby Dick, the description of the workers in Lower Manhattan.
Oh, my God.
Up on the arms of the masts and of these sailing ships in the 1850s, and they're sort of described in these heroic terms. And he says, I really think of construction workers in the same light. And you look around at the faces, the
They
workers,
were glowing, huh?
they were listening. They were listening.
They're going to buy the book for sure.
It was a great moment.
That's terrific.
We continue to make great advances on the Bronx Community College, the new building that we're putting in the library and academic building. And again, if you're driving south on the Deegan and you happen to look.
That's the highest point.
That's right, and you happen to look toward where Bronx Community College is on that hill, and your eyes will see a building that was not there.
Top of the rock.
That's right, and the building is making tremendous progress. At Lehman, the science building is moving ahead, even though, as this board knows, we lost some time. The project is now proceeding, and we'll start to see the skin of the building go up fairly soon. I also want to report that we are going to be moving ahead with the library project at Medgar Evers. This is a project to totally revamp the library out there, which was built in the 80s and really does not meet the standards that students need now in terms of study space and research space. And I really want to thank President Pollard because he put our feet to the fire on that project, and we've been able to put the money together now, and that project will be happening.
It's going to have a lot of computer consoles and stuff.
Computer consoles, we're going to open up the face of the building so it doesn't have that dark feeling, that dark brick feeling. There'll be many more study spaces for students in the building. And they have also asked that we consider putting a cafe in there so students need their coffee, accessible. So we're looking at that too. But again, I've got to thank Bill Pollard for his leadership in this area, because it's a very costly project, but we think we've put the money together for it. I just want to give an update on the city and state budget. On the city side, we got a not such a great Christmas gift from the city. We thought that we were going to get away unscathed on the capital budget. That did not happen. The city had requested that we cut back about $67 million over the next 5 years from our city capital plan. I think, as this board knows, the biggest hit would be for the community colleges, because of course the four-year schools are funded by the state. And I've got to thank Gwen and her staff, because they really were very creative in terms of trying to not hurt as many campuses as they could. So we're trying to figure out other funding sources and working with the campuses to figure out which projects just don't need to happen anymore. A lot of projects get subsumed in bigger projects, and therefore we don't need the city money anymore. So that was a bit of a setback for us, and we await the governor's budget message on February 1st to see how we're going to be affected on the capital side. But I've got to thank DOB. They continue to give us approval on a number of projects, and a number of them are critical maintenance projects. So that's very important for us. And last but not least, when you walk out of the building and see the John Jay building, that project is just moving gangbusters. And on the lower portion of the John Jay site, the college will start to take possession of some of the space for the fall term. So that's really going to be a big plus for John Jay in terms of the fact that they are starved for more space, and they will have that available to them in September. So there's a lot going on, Mr. Chairman, and we continue to make progress on all of our projects.
When will the John Jay project be complete?
It'll be complete next January, totally.
Okay.
And my guess is it'll even bleed into like February and March, because they're not going to be able to move into all the space at once. So by September of 2012, they will be fully ensconced in that building.
Okay.
What's the status of the community college across from Bryant Park?
We took possession of the site, and we're working with our MIS folks and our telephone folks, and we're pretty confident, right, Judy, that we'll be in there in a few weeks.
Right.
so they will move in a few weeks. And once the IT and the phone system is in, not only will the new community college use the space, but the School of Professional Studies will also use some of those classrooms, because of course we don't have, at this moment, total need for the community college to use all the space. But it's gonna be a great resource for CUNY. I was there over the holidays, and you see what's going on in Bryant Park. It's, get off the train right at the corner, it's really terrific.
So is half the funding for that coming from the city?
Yes, half from the city, half from the state.
That was
because-
allocated before.
Yes, because it's a community college, and we have to thank the mayor, because in his budget last year, he gave, actually, for the first few years of the new community college, he gave all the funding for the leasehold improvements, so that allowed us to move ahead and finalize the lease at this new community
What's the
college.
exact location?
It's on 40th Street.
40th.
Between 5th and 6th Avenue. It's right in the middle of the block. I'd like to say it's close
Or
to
right
Fifth.
across from the library?
It's right across from
Oh.
Bryant Park. It's
Bryant
right
Park,
there.
right.
The
It's
dark
old
brown
Catherine-
building with the gold trim?
Yes,
Beautiful
the
building.
old
Used to be the
Catherine-
Catherine
Really
Gibbs.
nice.
Yes, Catherine Gibbs.
Yeah.
And,
That's great.
it was reconstructed as a school building, and it's perfect for us, because we don't have to do any capital improvements to the space.
What's the name of the school?
It's
now
a
it's
new
just the
community
community
college.
Wow.
Anybody would
We're
like to give
looking
us
for
a gift,
naming
yes.
opportunities.
I know, I
Somebody
do.
who can name
the
on
city
the
field.
building.
Yeah. Chairman Smith would be glad to entertain that.
I'm sure he would.
Bryant Park.
Yeah.
They have a great restaurant,
They're
Bryant Park
already
Grill.
asking for
Yeah.
banners and flags to put on that building, so you'll recognize it soon.
Wow.
Oh, really?
that's great.
You know Jay will never let an
Oh,
opportunity.
yes.
No,
like
he's
that.
off.
If he had his way, there'd be a huge neon sign. I have to control him on the law school, because it's a condominium, we have certain restrictions. If Jay had his way, it would be like a 40-foot sign on the new law school.
Well, we've been naming bridges after
Yeah, the
past
governors
people, so
and
let's
everybody.
see what happens, right? It's a great opportunity. Anything else in your wonderful
No,
report?
I think that's it. We're just, we're very busy here, and, I have to say that the staff in this division works very long and hard hours, and, as I often say, they make me look good, so I'm very blessed to have a great staff.
Well, you and your staff are really to be commended for just your person's job in terms of all the work that's done. Really, it's just great. I mean, sometimes you make it look easy,
Yeah.
but and it really goes in a very seamless manner. But we know that there's a lot of training behind there, so and it can't happen without good thoughts, good professionalism, and teamwork. And that's what you exhibit. That's what we see when it comes forward. So it really is a shining forward. Thank you very much. Do we want to, Mike?
I'll be very brief. With respect to the construction market, in 2010, the bids came in, the low bid was 18% below estimates. So to get to your point, the awards were probably at 16% below estimates.
Wow.
So
And maintaining the
it's
same
a very
quality.
good market.
And good quality.
The quality of the contractors are also much better than they were 4 years ago bidding the work, because it's just the nature of this market.
Well, you're one of the biggest construction
Projects.
entities in the city, I would suspect, right?
Well, the work that's being done, it's a pretty large percentage.
Well,
the total
CUNY
between
is
CUNY and-
20% of
Yeah.
all the construction going on in the city now. We
So we're about the
fall
second.
No, I would say that the MTA is probably the largest.
SCA
And
comes
then-
after that.
And then School Construction Authority, and then probably CUNY after that, is among the larger ones. And then after that, it's the World Trade Center site, but, they sort of have a leg up on us, because they've got. number
Howard
one-
has got that pin.
Yeah.
Number one World
Looking
Trade
at it,
Center,
yeah.
which is 100+ stories high, so, but, we sort of spread the wealth with Daz in the 5 boroughs, so.
Mike?
Nothing, the Queens Remsen Hall, which was an addition and also interior renovations, the last phase of the interior renovation is complete now also,
Okay,
so.
good.
As far as John Jay, now it actually looks like a building. If you walk inside, you'll see the rooms are ready, and you know, the putting in finishes and sealing, so.
The escalators went in, the elevators.
All the escalators are done, they're just packed and ready to start, we just protect them.
And the
All of
grand stairs or something?
Yep, all the
When can,
elevators
some of us
are.
do a tour of that?
Yeah, we had planned that previously.
Now that the escalators are in.
Yeah, but they're not usable. We don't let anybody use escalators until they
Really?
open the
When would
building,
that
because they
be?
get destroyed.
But maybe in the spring or the summer we could take it.
And the Bronx building, if you do get an opportunity to see it, you'll see what it will look like. The exterior is pretty much done at this point. It is really a wonderful building in the context of that campus. I think it's really worth seeing. Okay. Otherwise, everything's moving pretty well.
Well, thank you very much, Mike. And, you know, part of this, you know, the work in terms of teamwork really extends to you and your team. You know, we work in tandem with you, and we really appreciate, you know, how you're working with us. Thank you, thank you.
And by the way, I have to thank DASI, you know, our relationship changed with them a few years ago, but, you know, they continue to be really a great partner. As an example, you know, they began working on the Medgar Evers Library project, and, you know, at some point we could have taken it over, but we went to Mike and his staff, and they're gonna continue to do that project with us. So they'll get done a lot quicker than, as opposed to if we had to start all over with the project. So they continue to be helpful in that area. They continue to be helpful in all the environmental requirements that we have, because we're not staffed up for that, so they step in and they help us, and they've really been a great partner for us.
Thank you very much. I'm glad that we can note that. Any other issues for the good of the order? Any other questions or comments? Or yes?
I just wanted to answer Noel's question from earlier. If you look at page 14 of tab 3 of your book, you'll see that the CUCF files as an organization operated for the benefit of a college or university, owned or operated by a governmental unit, as described in section 170.
B1AV, okay.
Got it.
No wonder you didn't remember it.
Which I'm sure you remember by heart.
Thank you very much for
There'll
that.
be a test
Yes. If you can remember Executive Order 11246, you ought to be able to remember that.
Oh, my God.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your job. Again, thank you to our friends up in Albany. We look forward to seeing you next time. And thank you for attending, and thanks everybody for being here. Hope you enjoy the rest of your month. And is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've got to go.
See you.